Well, I'm out here at Oak City Lake, Kansas. Well, I'm at the trail. The lake is, 10 miles that way or so. So this is the first hike I've done since I got back from the Virginia stretch of the Appalachian Trail. And I've been not lazy, but I've been lazy as far as hiking goes since I got back. I haven't really done anything. It's been a couple of months, so yeah, I'm excited to get out here. I've got 3 days and 3 nights. This is 15 miles from the trailhead to the lake, or to the end of the trail on the far side of the lake, so I'll encounter the lake a little sooner than that. And so I'll hike 15 miles in, 15 miles out, so that gives me about 10 miles a day. And so, I'm getting here in the evening. I've only got maybe an hour of hiking here before I have to stop. So won't get very far this evening, but I get a couple, 2-3 miles in maybe, and give me a little bit of a head start. Interesting looking back there. So there is not a soul out here. There were no cars at the trailhead. They say it's supposed to storm tonight, maybe thunderstorms all weekend, but I mean, it looks real cloudy, but it doesn't look bad out. And the trail though is quite muddy, and there are spiders everywhere. I'm probably a mile in already, but I really couldn't even video because there were so many spiders. I just had to use my poles to knock them down. I mean, there was a huge spider web every 5 feet, 5 to 10 feet maybe, for that whole first mile. So sorry to those spiders. I don't know how else I could have gotten through. Anyway, so sure smells very damp and musty back in here, and we'll see if it stays that way. Lots and lots of animal footprints, and no people footprints at all. So I don't know what was running around back here, but that's what it is. So I don't know, maybe I'll hear something tonight, maybe I'll encounter something. We'll have to see. I don't really know what's out here. I mean, it's Kansas, it can't be really that much. So whew. All right, I think I'm gonna put my camera away before I drop it in this mud and slide and kill myself. Anyway, so I'm excited. I'm gonna try to get in a couple of miles. Oh my goodness. And try to get in a couple miles and set up camp and have some dinner and get all snuggled up in my tent and prepare for a nice short little backpacking trip. Been hiking down in that muck. I don't know if you can see it very well here in the dark, but like 50 billion footprints that are about 6 inches deep in the mud from all the people who've come through. But finally the trail came up here, and now I'm up on top. I hope for a long time, but might be for 50 feet. We'll have to see. Boy, it sure is easier hiking up here though. I'm not making time very fast. Slugging through that mud. Ah, this is nice. Hey, some Kansas cactus. And more spiders. Oh. Yeah, I think that's a prickly pear there, huh? Good morning. I've been hiking now. This is really day one. Yesterday I only hiked about 2 miles of just yuck, just swampy, nasty, smelly mud, and it wasn't great at all. I ended up passing up a campsite early last night because I hadn't even hiked maybe a mile, and I wanted to hike a little further. It was still really bright, and I found nothing, and I hiked and hiked and hiked. I ended up hiking for probably 45 minutes in the dark, and it was not good. I had one little wipeout on a big slick rock because it's obviously wet out here. So anyway, I ended up just camping like in the middle of the trail down in kind of some muck. It was not good, but I slept well and it was all fine once I got in the tent. So anyway, got up early this morning, had a good breakfast and got started, and had more of that just crummy muck to hike in, but it's gotten better now. I came up above, and you know, I'm on a decent trail with, you know, trees and some undergrowth a little, and instead of just down in that, it was like what the moon would be like if there was a flood on it. I mean, it was just barren and just yucky. So anyway, tons and tons of spiders still this morning. For some reason I'm able to hike right now without hitting any, but I mean, I have to have gone through 300 of them this morning already. But it's good though. I mean, it's the day's still fairly cool. It's very thick out. It's kind of a little drizzly. I'm getting a little bit of rain, but not much. But it's just really, really humid. Here's a bunch more spiders. Gotta try to clear out. So, not making very good time because of the terrain and because of the spider webs. You know, when you're hiking, I mean, if you are like really hauling, almost running, you know, maybe a decent jog or something, you know, you might hope to do 4 miles an hour. I mean, that would be really moving. You know, mostly for most anybody, if you're doing a good hike and you're moving along, you figure 3 miles an hour is pretty good. It's a pretty good average. If you're doing some, oh, missed that spider. If you're doing some pretty rough terrain, you know, pretty steep ascent, lots of rocks that slow you down or something like that, lots of spider webs, then you might, you know, you might think 2 miles an hour is fairly decent. When I was out on the Appalachian Trail, I averaged 2 miles an hour lots of days. You know, when there were some steep ascents, you know, high temperatures, something like that. So that's all just to give you an idea, because up until just this last maybe half mile or so, I have averaged, just based on my rough estimates, you know, I haven't kept the time exact, but I've been averaging somewhere around 1 1/6 to 1 1/3 miles an hour for these first 3 miles that I did yesterday and then today. So I am not moving fast at all, and it's just because I'm either sinking into 4 inches of mud, or I'm stopping every, as you can kind of see, I'm stopping every, you know, 5 feet to knock down a spider web, or 12. So I mean, it's all good. I'm having a great time. It's a good hike. It's just slow, and you know, I'm kind of wondering if I'm actually going to make it the 15 miles there and back in time to leave at a decent time on Monday. But whatever, we'll see. Won't be any travesty if I don't quite make it there. What else? Heard lots of wildlife last night while I was sleeping. Coyotes going crazy. I think they must have caught themselves a few things, because I'd hear coyotes yelping, and then I'd hear some kind of animal screaming, and then all of a sudden I'd hear coyotes going crazy. So that went on. This morning when I got up, it was still mostly dark out, so it was a little hard to see, but I'm pretty sure that I saw a beaver swimming down the little, it's not a river really, but anyway, just the little tributary that runs into the lake. And right above my camp, it was too dark really to video, but right above my camp there was a big tree that angled over at about a 45-degree angle, and about halfway up it, there was a huge snake skin hanging off of it. So obviously there had been a huge snake on that tree at one point, and it shed his skin. And I don't know what else. Lots of horseflies out today. They are trying to nail me left and right, and I've smacked a whole bunch of them off my legs and ended their existence. Here I am walking through more spider webs. So I don't know. I hope if the trail stays like this for quite a while, if it ends up being mostly in the woods like this, and even though I'm dealing with spider webs, you know, I'm going to enjoy this. And I'll just take it nice and slow and just get where I get and make sure I get a good camp site tonight before it's dark. I don't think I stopped last night until almost 10 o'clock, and it was way too dark for me to be hiking out in this, just in this muck and everything. So I'm hoping it's going to be a good day. Found this little guy hiding underneath this log this morning. I want to try to show you all the spiders, but I don't know if you'll be able to see any of it. There you can kind of see a spider web. There's a spider. If you look off in the distance, there's 3 way up in the tree there. I don't know if you can see any of them. Yeah, there's 3 up there. Then, as I walk on here, can't really see, but then boom, right there. There's one in its web. There's a little one right in front of it. I don't know if you can see that. They're just layers and layers. So I move this one aside. Now we go on, and there's another little one. Can you see that guy? Yep, there he is. You can see him if I move this around a little bit. He's hanging out right there. Right there. So we'll move his web. We'll go through. Up, here's another one. Let's see. See that little guy? So he's there. Oh, I just knocked 2 or 3 down. Oh, there's a big one hanging out right in the middle. So I knock one side of his down. There's another one here on the side, but I don't have to get him because he's not in my way. I can just walk through there. And then you look up above, you can see, I won't zoom in, but I mean there's, oh my gosh, there's back here. They're all over. There's several there. I don't know if I doubt this is focusing in on them. There's a couple right there. I mean, they're just like hundreds. There's 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 right over here, which you're probably not seeing any of, but they're just right, 5 feet away. Here's another huge one. Where's he at? Oh yeah, there we go. I would have walked right into him with my face. And we're through into the trees. And usually the spot going right into the trees is the worst, but then, all of a sudden, whoa, there's another one right there. So we'll knock one side of his down so I can get through. And they're just everywhere. So I've gone a little over 5 miles, about a third of the way to the end of the trail so that I can turn around and come back. And came across this here. Don't know, not sure I knew this was here, but I guess you can drive in kind of midway and pick up the trail from here. So take a look on this map and see what it shows us. Okay, so this is where, hang on. Yeah, this is where I came from. Right here, this is where I parked and hiked in and camped somewhere right in here last night. Probably right here. And then I've gone through and I hit 10 just a little bit ago, and now I'm right here. So I guess obviously there is a little road system to get into there. And it looks like so this little river, which is not much of a river, but that smelly whatever thing that I've been following all along, I think it's about to turn into a real arm of the lake here soon. So I maybe have another half mile, 2, maybe 2.5 to 3 miles before I really hit the actual lake, and then I'll have a good 6+ miles to hike all the way in to the Fish and Wildlife office, which I don't know if there's anything there, anything to buy, like to eat or drink or anything like that, but And then it looks like you can go to the other side, and maybe this side's more developed. And it doesn't mark any campsites, so I guess it's all just kind of backwoods camping. Yeah. All right, we'll get trucking. I'm at about mile 10 or 10 and a half, and this is my first view of the lake out there. Just barely see it. The edge. Came out of the woods and I'm just in this big open area. It's really pretty. I've said this 1,000 times on different hikes, but it's just always so nice to finally come out into a clearing like this when you're hiking through the woods all day. It's beautiful in the woods, but then it's just nice to have this change. And see the lake, yay!